Joined now by John Stockstill, the Orioles Director of Player Development. Now the fall development program continues. First time you've had this here at the Major League Ballpark. What do the prospects think about playing on the field at Camden Yards?
Well, it's an added incentive when they get there. It's automatic motivation. Obviously, we couldn't have it in Sarasota this year. Commitment we made to be off of their facilities in order to get them ready for spring training. So we were fortunate enough to be able to come here to Camden Yards and do a number of things. We had about 6 to 8 instructors throughout the process trying to pay the most attention to detail that we could for what they're going to need for the off season and to go into spring training for next year.
You know, this is very unique in that you would bring them right here to the Major League Club and have this many instructors to be as personal as they are with every single guy. I mean, it's got to have an effect on all of baseball, what you're doing here.
It does. We've had several people call. First of all, they'll ask why. You know, you have a couple of options. You can lease another facility down in Florida or wherever. You could go anywhere. In Instructional League, the games are not so important as the individual attention. The deficiencies that players have throughout a season, also players who may have missed. We had a couple guys that missed 80, 90 games, so we tried to get them back into a target area for what they need to do. But yeah, some other clubs have noticed the uniqueness of being able to play here. The downside is you really don't have the pitching to have full games. So this was 15 players with no pitchers.
You mentioned the instruction, and as Rick pointed out, you have 15 players and 8 coaches. That's a pretty good ratio. But you mentioned getting them set for their offseason. Now, some of these prospects are going to go play in the winter somewhere, whether that's the Arizona Fall League or one of the other winter leagues. How about a prospect like a Tyler Townsend, who really is beginning to establish himself as a player to be recognized? What would a guy like he do as you move forward?
Right. Tyler missed a good part of the season. So his motivation here was, I think we were 13, 14 days to get prepared to go to the Fall League. He'll go for the whole Fall League. Then, depending on the number of bats, he will go to Australia. You know, if there's a point where you just say enough is enough, but in his case, he'll catch up for part of the season and then add to it all the way up, right up until about February.
John, I think there's a lot of eyes on Manny Machado right now to see, you know, is this guy really an A-Rod clone? You know, how good really is he, and what are his capabilities, and what kind of a ceiling does this young man have in your mind? Well,
he certainly has the tools, and when you look at batting practice, he's got a narrow stance, and he keeps inside the ball. A good arm. He has all the tools that you need. It's just a matter of we need to get the most out of he and all of the other prospects in the organization.
Leading up to the instructional program that you had here, you were scouting in Japan as the Japanese Major League season began to wind down. Koji Uehara has really finished with a flourish here. Are there any other kind of pitchers over there like a Koji that you saw that might be able to be enticed to come to Baltimore?
There are a couple that are similar. What I tried to do was, just since I had been over there about 80 or 100 days over the last couple of years, was go back and see some key players. We've had a couple people in there, so we want to stay on top of any player that might be headed this way. That would include American players that are playing over there and might come back too.
And I guess the key is that Koji has succeeded here since he's been healthy. That might be an enticement for some of his countrymen to follow.
It is. Once you acquire a player there, you become one of a unique group of clubs. There's 8 or 10 that are pretty heavy in the market, so we're considered in the market, but you have to constantly stay on every player that might come here.
All right, John, we appreciate the visit and continued success. And, hey, congratulations on the fall development program. All of a sudden, you're setting the tone. I like that.
Thank you.
That's John Stockstill.